You're listening to an AppleVis podcast. Hello there, and thank you for giving this podcast a listen. My name is Thomas Domville, also known as Anonymous. In this podcast, I'm going to review the Apple Podcasts app. So this is the native podcast app that you will find on your iOS device. I'm covering this because in iOS 14.5, they have totally revamped how podcasts works. And I want to show people, if you have never used podcasts and it's something you want to use, this is for you. Or you just want to see if it will be something for you to use. Now, in the past, I have used Downcast. I use Overcast, which is what I currently still use. And I've also used other cast apps like Castro and such. Now, what I like about this new Apple Podcasts app and how they design it, if you're an Apple Music subscriber, you're going to see a lot of similarities. They have borrowed a lot of things from Apple Music, as in the interface, how it looks, the tabs, the whole 9 yards. It works pretty much the same way. Now, I will say, coming from Downcast, Castro, or Overcast, it is going to be really different. There is a learning curve to it. And I think what Apple is trying to introduce something new, something that we haven't seen in an interface we haven't seen. And once you get the hang of it, it's really kind of nice. I kind of like it quite a bit myself. So I want to put that out there. Now, for those that are listening to this podcast, obviously you know what a podcast is, so we don't have to go down that road. Now, if you're listening to this podcast via your Victor Reader or other means other than your iPhone or a app that aggregates the podcast, this is what that is for. So it allows you to aggregate your podcast on your iPhone for you to listen. Some may even listen to podcasts straight from the website of AppleVis. Now, there are some new terms. Apple decided to try to be a little bit different. This is what Apple does best. They like to change the jargon around a bit. In other words, let's just say you're listening to an AppleVis podcast. So AppleVis has its podcast feed. That's a show. We offer a show. AppleVis provides show that is called AppleVis. It's just a show. Now, we have episodes. This is what Apple calls episodes, which is all the podcasts that AppleVis puts out on a show. So just think of a television show. You think of a television show and all of its episodes. So it's basically stealing from that idea and put it into the podcast terms. So we have shows, we have episodes, and then we have stations, and I'll explain stations. And one of the things they like to also do is that you don't subscribe to a podcast on Apple Podcasts. They now use the word you follow it or unfollow. So they're trying to make things a little bit different for people to learn. All right, so without further ado, let's go right over to the podcast app. This is a native app. It should already be on your iOS. This is not something you have to download. It is baked right into iOS. Now, of course, if you have deleted it for some reason, you can go head on over to the App Store and re-download podcasts. I'll call it Apple Podcasts, so that way we know what I'm talking about, because I think it's kind of confusing when I say, hey, let's use the podcast app, and some people get confused. What is that? You mean Overcast, Downcast, Castro? No, this is Apple Podcast. Now, the app itself is called Podcast.
Podcasts. Double tap to open.
We'll go ahead and do a one-finger double tap to open this podcast up.
Podcasts. Download. Dimmed. Button.
All right,
Actions available.
so let's start with the bottom menus or tabs down towards the bottom. We're going to start with the bottom left and work over from left to right. I'll explain each of the tabs. We'll probably go out in different orders just for various reasons. Well, I'll explain as we go. So let's go to the bottom left-hand corner.
Tab bar. Selected. Listen now. Tab. 1 of 4.
We have the Listen Now tab. This is basically where you will find a few of the episodes that you have subscribed to a show. So I'll explain that. You'll see a couple episodes that you have subscribed, and then these are other things like suggestions that they think you might like in terms of shows and episodes. Let's go to the right here.
Browse. Tab. 2 of 4.
So this is the bottom left, second tab. To the left, we have browse. Yes, browse is something like, well, I don't know what I'm looking for. I just want to browse around, see what kind of podcasts, or I should correct myself when I say these things, shows and episodes. Go to the right.
Library, tab 304.
Now, library is that. That is where all your shows and your episodes lives. It is there. So everything you follow comes onto this page, and it is in different stations. And I'll explain that when we dive into this tab. Go to the right.
Search, tab 404.
This is the last tab on the bottom right. Is your search. This is a quick way to find a particular show that you want to follow. For example, if you want to follow AppleVis, I will show you in this podcast how to follow AppleVis as an example. And that is where we're going to start. We're going to go ahead and do that first. So double tap that search. And then I'm going to go to the top, 4-finger tap to the top.
Search, heading.
And I'm going to let it go through the whole page here so you get an idea what is here. So just swipe to the right.
All podcasts. Search field. Double
You
tap
have the
to edit.
search field. This is the easiest way to find things. So if I want to search for AppleVis, you just type that in and do a search, which we will do in a few moments. As you go to the right.
Browse categories, heading.
All right, so we have categories. These are different categories that you can find shows that are in that particular category that you maybe have of interest. I'm going to show you a few. I'm not going to do all of them.
Earth Day 2021, button. Top charts, button. Comedy, button. News, button. True crime, button.
Get an idea how those are laid out. So if those are interesting to you, you just double tap that. In this case, I'll go ahead and double tap True Crimes.
True crime. Search, back button.
Now we're at the back button, which is the top left. Let's go to the right.
More, button.
I'll explain that in a few moments.
True crime, heading.
Let's see what else we got in here.
Top shows, heading. See all, button. Your own backyard, Chris Lambert, button. A magazine cover with text and images of people on it that might be a demonstration.
So these are top shows.
Killer Roll, NBC News, button. Possible adult content, a photo containing an adult, Dateline.
I'll do one more.
Crime Junkie, Audio Jock, button. A purple and black logo on a white surface. Crime Junkie.
And as you hear for yourself, those are the shows. If you want to follow those, you double tap that, which I'm not going to do at this moment. I'm going to go to the next heading here.
New shows, heading.
Here are the newest shows that are based on that category.
See all, button. Killer Roll, NBC News, button. O.C. Swingers, Audio Jock. The Case, Barstool Sports, button. A photo, Mommy Doomsday, NBC News, button. A photo containing an adult and a sign, Dateline.
And et cetera, et cetera.
More to explore, heading.
I'll go to the next one. There's more items to see.
See all, button. My Favorite Murder with Karen Kilgareth and Georgia Hardstark, exactly right, button. A group of multicolored letters on a black background. Your Own Backyard, Chris Lambert, button. A magazine, Up and Vanished, Tenderfoot TV, button. A poster with an image of a person and text on it.
That gives you a better idea of what we have on this page. I'm going to go back to the top here.
Search, back button.
And go back.
Search. True crime, button.
And I'm going to go back to the top here.
Search, heading.
And go right.
All podcasts. Search field.
This is
Double
where
tap to
we
edit.
want to go. Let's double tap here.
Search field is at true crime, button.
So I want to search for AppleVis. So I'll type this in.
Cape, P, L, R, E, F, G, V, S.
And no, you don't have to worry about the capitalization or anything like that. It will work. It's bottom right.
Search.
It's a search. Double tap that.
A plebis. Search field. Double tap
All
to
right.
edit.
So now we have the results of AppleVis. So in this case, I'm going to go swipe to the right here.
Cancel, button. Selected. All podcasts, button. 1 of your library, button. 2 of 2.
You have two options here. Obviously, you hear everything or just within your library. If you're searching for something within your library, this is a great way to find what you want.
Shows, heading.
All right, here comes the shows.
AppleVis podcast, button. A black and white logo on a white background that it might be a demonstration.
Here we go. So this is AppleVis. This is so nice because I can just do a search. I don't need to know all those complicated feeds, URL, and all that. It's just magic. It just appears. So if I'm interested in about AppleVis or I want to look more information about AppleVis and to follow it, just do a 1-finger double tap on AppleVis.
Podcast artwork, image. A black and white logo on a white background. A black and white logo on a white background that might be a demonstration.
I'm going to tap towards the top here.
Back button.
You have the back button, which is the top left. Swipe to the right.
Follow button.
Is your follow button. This is what I was talking about. Those that are coming from the older style, Overcast, Downcast, or Castro, you typically would do a subscribe. Well, in this case, Apple wants you to learn follow. Now, I'm not quite ready to do a follow because once you tap on follow, it's going to do something different, and we'll show you that. Let me show you the rest because this is maybe important to you as you're searching for different shows. It tells you a little bit more information about the show itself. So let's go to the right.
More button.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Latest episode button.
Now, you can check for the latest episodes if you are not wanting to follow something. Yes, you can do a search for a show such as this. You can check out all the latest episodes, and you can just listen to all the episodes from here without following.
AppleVis is the leading online resource for blind and low vision users of Apple products. Our podcast includes demos, guides, interviews, roundtables, and more, all intended to help you get the most from your Apple device.
So that's a short summary what AppleVis podcast is, or I should say AppleVis show.
More button. Black star 4.5, 82, middle dot technology.
So we have a 4.5 out of 5 stars, so it gives you a little bit of review. So if you go to the right,
episodes, heading,
you'll see the different episodes.
See all, button. Today, AppleVis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event, button.
This is the latest episode that is available, so you can just double tap that and I'll give that a listen if you want. Or you can see the other episodes.
Play, AppleVis Extra 81, April 12th, perilous marathon for Mac, avoid the pits and falling bombs as you run for play, perilous marathon for Mac.
Now you may have heard kind of a double thing. The first one allows you to see more information about the show itself. The second option is play, and we'll be covering this as well. There's lots to cover here, so be patient with me.
Play, perilous marathon, March 30th, AppleVis Unleashed, March 2021. Are you?
So we have all these, so let's go to the next area.
Ratings and reviews, heading.
Here are the ratings and reviews. These are people's reviews. If you like to check what the reviews are.
See all, button. 4.5 out of 5. 5 stars, 78%. 4 stars, 7%.
Etc., etc. We had some pretty good stars. Thank you for leaving a review for AppleVis. If you haven't done so, please do so. We really would like to have you rate our show.
About, heading.
And then we get the About section.
AppleVis is the leading online resource for blind and low vision users of Apple products. Our podcast includes demos, guides, interviews, roundtables, and more, all intended to help you get the most from your Apple device.
Pretty much the same what we heard above.
Information, heading. Provider, AppleVis podcast, button. Years active, 2021. Episodes, 131. Rating, clean. Copyright AppleVis. Show website, AppleVis podcast, button.
And everything is pretty self-explanatory. So there's a lot of information about the show itself. So enough of this. Let's go to the top right.
Follow, button.
Where we had the follow. Now, once you follow, what is going to happen, I'm going to show you what happens. So double tap to follow AppleVis.
Follow.
I'm going to go to the top
button.
here.
Download, button.
You have the download button. Yes, there are ways that we can download the episode or just stream them. I'll try to explain that as we go on here, but let's go to the right.
More, button.
There's that more button. Now, the more is pretty much all over the place, and they pretty much take you to the same things. So there's a few differences in different areas, but I will show a few of those. So let's double tap this.
Unfollow, button.
This gives us the unfollow. So if you no longer want to follow AppleVis, you just double tap that, and that unfollows the show.
Settings, button.
This is an important area. This is the settings. You may want to take a look at this. I will get into this as we go through here, the rest of the items, and then we'll come back to settings.
Play next, button. Share show, button. Copy link, button. Report a concern, button.
Yes, you can report a concern. Those are our previous items. The put things in the next queue and things like that. That is for those that want to listen to shows, or I should say episodes, back to back, back to back. You can move around the queues. I'm not going to get that involved. That gets into the advanced area. Today, I'm just covering just the basics.
Dismiss context menu, button.
And then we have the dismiss. Now, promise, let's go back to settings.
Report a copy link, share show, but play next, button. Settings, button.
Double tap this.
AppleVis podcast, heading.
Now, You may not want to go in this area. It will be up to you. There are some pretty cool things in here that you may want to know about. So go to the right.
Done. Button. Following. Switch button. On.
So obviously we're still following. If you want to unfollow, double tap that.
Notifications. Switch button. On. Double tap to toggle setting.
This is kind of nice because, yes, I can say I only want to get notifications for certain shows. So I get like NPR News. That comes out every hour. I don't want to be notified every hour there's a new show. However, I do want to know when there's a new show on AppleVis. So that's something you want to look at. Now, by default, it's turned on. So like the NPR News, if you follow that, you will have to disable that by double tapping that.
Off. On.
Like that. Go to the right.
Episode order. Heading.
You have different ways to order how you want to see the episodes. So you get more control. So I love the configuration. However, for myself, I don't touch it. But for those that like to tweak it just a little bit more, this is for you. Now let's go to the right, see what those options are.
Oldest to newest.
We have the oldest to newest.
Selected. Newest to oldest.
Newest to oldest is the default way to do it.
Episode display. Heading.
Now let's go to the episode displays. This tells us how we want it to be displayed.
Hide played episodes. Off. Button.
So if you have listened to an episode and you don't want that to show on the list, you can just double tap that and everything that gets played will just disappear like it never exists. For me, and by default, this is turned off. So that means every played episode is being shown. This is up to you.
Downloads. Heading.
Download is something that you need to think about. Now, by default,
automatic downloads. Switch button. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
The automatic download, it will depends how your settings is. Now, for my case, I have it turned off. Now, this is really going to be a general preference, really, because if you want to be able to listen to shows, say in an airplane or places you don't want to use your data consumption, maybe you're outside and you don't want to use your cell service to download those episodes. So if you turn this on, meaning that when you open up the podcast, say I'm at home on Wi-Fi, it'll automatically download those new episodes and it downloads it entirely. Meaning that once you leave the Wi-Fi, you can listen to the whole episode without using any data. Now, if you just want to stream it and not take any space on your phone, in my case, I have it turned off. I'm okay with it turned off. I'll turn things on when I know I'm going to places like vacation or whatever not. I will go back in and turn those options to on so I can listen to those.
Limit downloads. Off. Button.
You can limit downloads. In my case, I have it off. That means if there are 5 new episodes that came out in the past 2 weeks, you'll get all 5 episodes. So it'll download all 5 episodes. If you're concerned about you don't want to download everything, like my NPR news, that comes out every hour, right? So I put a limit. I just said I only want 1 because it comes out every hour and only give me the latest one. So in this case, I want all of my episodes, so I'll keep this turned off.
Remove played downloads. On. Button.
Remove played downloads. So once you listen to the episode and you have downloaded, it will say, yes, go ahead and dump that episode. No, you will still be able to see the episodes and you can replay it anytime you want. But if you say it to remove after it's played, that means the download offline portion is gone. So I can't listen to the show on an airplane if I've already played it because it removed that download. And yes, you can re-download it with no issues.
Episodes will not be automatically downloaded. Remove played downloads 24 hours after they finish playing.
Exactly. That's another thing I want to tell you. The download doesn't disappear until the 24 hours. All right, so let's go back to the top here.
AppleVis podcast. Heading. Done. Button.
There's the done button. It's at the top right-hand corner.
Download. Button.
And we're back to the top left. Let's go to the right.
More. Button. Latest episode. Button.
Now, this sounds similar, doesn't it? That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of similarities and there's a lot of overlapping, which kind of makes things nice, but sometimes you get confused, like, wait a minute, where am I at? But it's one of those learning curves as you go. Now, as you go to the right,
AppleVis is the leading online resource for blind and low vision users of Apple.
You're going to hear the same things that you heard about the information. So go to the right.
More. Button. Black Star 4.5, 82, middle
etc., etc., etc. And if you want to go to the episodes,
heading.
You just do to the next heading, and you can see all the episodes. And in this case, it's from newest to oldest. Go to the right.
See all. But today, Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event, button. Actions available, download, dimmed, button.
Now, you may have heard as a hint, there's more to it. Yes, there is. If you swipe up,
more.
There's the more. And I'll explain more in a bit here. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go to the bottom left here.
Tab bar. Listen now. Tab 1 of 4.
Let's go to the library.
Browse. Tab 2 of library. Tab 3 of 4.
Now that we've done a search and you have added all the shows that you want. Now, this is a great place to show you all the different shows you have downloaded or even just episodes. So if I come here and then I go to the top,
edit button.
We have the edit button. We're going to ignore that for now.
Library heading.
Now we have something called station. This is kind of confusing, but I'm going to do my best here. Go to the right.
Shows button.
We have shows. The first station is shows. This will show you all the show that you are following. So AppleVis, which be on this show station. A station is something you can create, but by default, there are stations that are defined and built into the Apple Podcasts. And you can create your own station based on rules or how you want it to look. Anything you want, you can do that. Go to the right.
Save button.
Here's the saved area. Go one more to the right.
Downloads button.
Downloads. You're asking yourself, all these episodes that are downloaded, I only want to see the episodes that are new and they've been downloaded. Either I have done it or it done it automatically. If you double tap the download, it will take you to the download page. And this is also where you can come and remove the downloads manually. So let's go to the right here. One more station.
Latest episodes button.
It's the latest episodes. I like coming here a lot myself. This is where I can see all the latest episodes. Now you're asking yourself, well, what is below here if I didn't tap on any of those buttons? Great question. Let's go to the right and find out.
Recently followed heading.
Okay, so basically it's going to show you what has been recently followed. These are all the shows that I have followed in this demonstration, so you can hear for yourself and when they were followed, which is kind of cool.
AppleVis Podcast today button. A purple logo on a white background.
AppleVis was added today, obviously.
16 Minutes News by a 16Z, March 28th, button. Black text on a white background, house. A 16Z podcast, March 28th, button. NPR News Now, February 19th, button. Mosen at Large, February 19th, button. IZ, using various technologies from a blind person's perspective, February 19th, button.
Those are the shows that I follow. Some of those you may be familiar with. Yes, these are very specific blindcast shows that I follow. I do follow some other things, but that is... I don't want to bore you with all those shows that I follow, but I at least want to show you this is what it shows by default. It just shows you your shows that you have been following and when they were added. So let's go back to the top left.
Library, heading.
And go to the right.
Edit, button.
And one more.
Shows, button.
And then we're back to those stations. So let me show you here. If you double tap shows.
Selected. 16 Minutes News by a 16Z, updated Saturday, button. Purple text on a white background.
I'll go to the top here just to make sure.
Library, back button.
That is how you go back, is top left. Go to the right.
Edit, button.
You can edit. And the edit allows you to rearrange in order how you want it. So if you want certain shows to be in a certain place, you can come into the edit and change that if you wish.
Shows, heading.
Now it's going to show all the shows.
16 Minutes News by a 16Z, update. A 16Z podcast, up. AppleBits XLW/Brian Talk. Apple News Today, updated Friday. AppleVis Podcast, updated today, button. A black rectangle on a yellow background.
It even tells you when the last episode was. So this was today. Let's go to the last one here.
Apple News Today, updated Friday, button. No
so the last
available.
Show was updated on Friday. So it gives you a little bit more news there. And this works the same way. So if I go to AppleVis.
AppleVis Podcast, updated
and double
today,
tap.
Button. Download, button.
Which we have the download button at the top left.
More, button.
And you remember the more.
Episodes, heading. See all, button.
And it shows you the episode. So let's go back out of here. I'm going to do a 2-finger scrub.
AppleVis Podcast, updated today, button. A photo of outdoor activities and an animal.
Two-finger
A black
scrub
rectangle in front.
Is going to be use in several places where you don't have a back button. So don't panic. It is just a gesture that you need to learn if you don't use it very often. And I noticed that Apple is starting to use this more and more. Instead of giving us a back button, we have to do more of the scrub gesture. So this gets us right back to where we had the shows. Let's go to the top left again.
Library. Back button.
We'll go back here, double tap.
Library. Shows. Button.
All right, so we have the show button. We've done that. Let's go to the right.
Saved. Button.
Saved are the shows that you saved. I'm not interested in that.
Downloads. Button.
Downloads, I don't have anything downloaded to show you, but if you double tap this, you can go see what you've downloaded and you can remove those there.
Latest episodes. Button.
Now, this is the one I want to show you. This is where I go to every time I come into the podcast app. I want to see all the latest shows that I have not seen, and this is the greatest place to do that. So you just double tap this.
Selected. Today, Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event. Button.
So that shows you the latest episode. So I'm going to go to the top here. I always like to start at the top.
Library. Back button.
So you get a better idea where things are. So if you don't like how it's focusing around and you get a better incremented of where you are, this is the best way to do it. Just do a forefinger, just tap at the top screen, and you'll see that back button. Go to the right.
Edit. Button.
We have that edit button again. Again, each of these edits does different things in different pages.
Latest episodes. Heading.
All right, so let's see what the latest episodes are that I have not listened to.
Today, Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event. Button. Actions available.
This is the latest episode, so there's an AppleVis podcast I can listen to, or I should say an episode. I got to be careful with that. It's so weird because I've gotten so brained or programmed how other apps told me to call it. So this is an episode that you can watch.
Play. Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event. Button.
Now, you
Actions
notice
available.
it says play, and then before this,
Today, Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded
it has this just show. Now, if I double tap this first part,
artwork. Playback progress 0%. Image. A
You
green
notice
logo on a white
it
background.
didn't
A gray circle
play-
in front of a white background.
it didn't play the episode. That's because I remember I told you the first one kind of gives you information about the episode, and the second part where it says play, you can play. Now, you can play the episode in here as well. So if I go to the right,
Today, 1 second.
that means I'm at the 1 second mark. I haven't even gotten into it.
Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event. Heading. Apple Vis podcast. Button. Play. Button.
There's the play button.
In this episode of the Apple Vis Extra, Dave Nason, Thomas Domville, and Michael Hansen got together with the community on Clubhouse to discuss everything Apple announced at their Spring Loaded event on Tuesday, April 20th, 2021.
I like this because the show notes, if you are not looking into the show notes, you should, especially if you follow my Unleashed podcast or episode, you should do that because I put a lot of links in there that takes you to a lot of the articles that I discuss in the Unleashed podcast or episode.
As well as the usual roundtable discussion among the team, we were able to bring members of the audience up on stage to give their thoughts to. Huge thanks to everyone who joined us for the recording and to everyone who spoke. Do please let us know in the comments on the website if you like the format. Episode website. Button. Information. Heading. Show. Apple Vis podcast. Button. Published. April 25th, 2021, 8:07 a.m. Central Daylight Time.
You see how that's similar to what we did when we were looking at the information of the actual show? Well, now you can see the information to that episode, when it was released and what year. So there's a lot of great information in here if you want. Now let's go back to the top left.
Save episode. Off. Button.
Now you'll notice that it has a save button. This is where I was telling you about the save. I want to save this. I don't want to essentially download it yet, but I kind of want to don't forget it because it kind of disappears. I get a lot of these episodes that I want to go back at some point and I don't want to forget about it. That's what the save is for. And I thought this would be easier for you to understand what the save is than rather than just telling you what that saved area is for. So once you save an episode, you can go back to the saved area and it goes back and says, even though you have played it or listen to it, whatever not, if you have it saved, it will always be there if this item is selected. So if you want to unsave it, you just double tap that. Now there's no back button in here. Still do a 2-finger scrub.
Today, Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event. Button. Actions available.
Let's go to the right, see what else we got here.
Play. Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing.
And there's that play. If you double tap that, I'll go straight to the episode and start playing.
Saturday, 62, 16 minutes. Number 62. What's new at Apple, AirTag, iMac, iPad Pro, and more. 14 minutes. Button.
This is
Actions
another
available.
episodes that I follow. If you swipe up,
More.
you get the more option. Let me show you what's in this more option.
Download episode. Button.
This is where you can download it.
Go to show. Button. Play next. Button. Play last. Button. Mark is played. Button.
Marcus played. That's very important. If it's a show that I don't really want to listen to that episode, I'm okay. If you mark it as played, it will just disappear from your latest episodes. So this is how you get rid of all the episodes you just I don't want to listen to the rest of it, or I just don't want to listen to it all. You just hit played.
Save episode. Button.
Those are all the options that I've just gone over, but it's one easy place. It's kind of convenient, isn't it? So you have all this at a swipe up to the more, instead of going double tap into something, go to the top left, save it, or go to the download. It's all right there by swiping up on per episode. So if you want to save yourself some heartaches and save yourself to be a little more efficient, then you just do swipe up to more.
Share episode. Button. Copy link. Button. Report a concern. Button. Dismiss context menu. Button.
All right, so we're done.
Today, Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple.
So that is the library tab. So let's head on over to the bottom left.
Tab bar. Listen now. Tab.
It's a
1 of
listen
4.
now. Double tap this. I'm going to go to the top here.
Listen now. Heading.
Now, this is very much like Apple Music. This is kind of like, hey, I noticed you listened to this show and this episode. Have you ever thought about, hey, I got some recommendations for you. But it's broken down in different segments on this screen. So if you go to the right,
Account settings. Button.
there's the account settings. That may sound familiar. Yes. You know, you're in your app store. If you double tap that, it tells you your profile, what you have subscribed, and things like that. That is going to come more in play when you start subscribing to podcasts and such. This is where you can find those podcast subscription, which you are subscribing to and such. Again, that's more of the advanced area. I'm going to leave that out for this podcast.
Up next. Heading.
All right, so the up next section, which is always telling you about, if you open up the podcast for the first time or that day, it's going to show you the latest episodes that are available that you are following. The shows that you're following, the episodes are going to be listed here. So I'll go to the right.
See all. Button. Apple Vis Podcast. Apple Vis Extra 81, discussing Apple Spring Loaded event. New. Today.
As I mentioned before, it shows you when it was released. So this just came out today. So if you want to listen to it, just double tap that.
16 minutes news by a 16Z, 62, 16 minutes. Number 62, what's new at Apple, AirTag, iMac, iPad Pro, and more. New. Saturday. Double tap to play. Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate. Black text on a white background.
This was the next episode in order. And yes, it is similar to the latest episode. So you can come in here and see all to get the same results. So there's different ways of doing it. And what's weird about it, there's so many different ways you can access the same thing.
Apple News Today, advocates press Congress for National Police Reform Bill. New. Friday. Double tap to play. Swipe up or down to select a custom action.
So this came out on Friday. So that's the first segment, is the latest episodes for you. I'm going to go down to the next segment.
Shows you might like, based on your listening. Heading.
All right, so you remember, we have shows and we have episodes. These are shows that I think you might be interested in. And some of these you may be familiar with. And I was like, wow, it knows what I like. And yes, I want to follow some of these. Go to the right.
See all. Button. 9 to 5 Mac Daily, 9 to 5 Mac. Button. Note. Up first. NPR. Button. 5 things. USA Today /Wondery. The Daily. The New York Times. The NPR Politics Podcast. NPR. 9 to 5 Mac Happy Hour. Freedom Scientific FS Cast.
Oh.
Freedom Scientific. Button.
Whoa, how did it know that? Freedom Scientific? Yes, I do want to follow that. And if you do want to follow that, you just double tap that, and then it'll get you to the item that we saw with AppleVis, where you hit the follow button. You get that same screen. So I'm not going to do things redundant here, but it's very similar to what we did for AppleVis. So let's just do a few more here.
WSJ Wants News. The Wall Street Journal. Consider this from NPR. Renee Ritchie. Button.
Good one.
Apple Insider Podcast. The Journal. The Wall Street. Blind Bargains Audio, featuring the BB Cast,
Blind
Technology News,
Bargains?
Interviews, Genius Bar, John Prosser, Kansas City Weekend Review, 90.9 The Bridge, button.
Even does my Kansas City area. So these are like, wow, these are definitely something I might be interested in listening. And again, remember, you don't have to follow it. You just double tap that and say, I'm just curious what some of those episodes sounds like. And you can just listen to those episodes without having to follow. Let's go to the next segment.
Episodes you might like based on your listening. Heading.
Now we get to episodes. So these are not the shows, but episodes.
See all. Button. Friday, M1 iPad Pro, 24-inch iMac, and Apple Podcast subscriptions, 1 hour, 9 minutes. Button.
Obviously,
Swipe
that'd
up or
be
down to
something
select
I'd
the
be
custom action,
interested in
then double
because I love Apple News, so it knows me very well.
Play. M1 iPad Pro, Thursday, how the White House hopes to curb greenhouse gas emissions, 17 minutes. Button.
I follow the news, so it does a very good job there. Let's go to the next section.
Recently played, episodes you have listened to. Heading.
Now, these are recently played, so if you have listened to episodes previously, it's going to show you up in this area. And that is the Listen Now tab. Let's go back down to the bottom left.
Tab bar. Selected. Listen now. Tab.
Go
1
to
of
the
4.
right.
Browse. Tab.
We have
2
the
of 4.
browse. Double tap that. Let's go to the top.
Browse. Heading.
Now, this is also kind of similar to the search in a different way. I know. If this is where we get into what Apple is kind of like featuring and things that you may want to look at. So this is the area if you kind of like, I don't know what to follow. I just want to see what Apple has to say. So go to the right.
Featured. Apple Events. Listen now. Button. Black text
So
on a white
the
background.
Apple event.
Browse.
That's kind of cool. So if you missed out the latest Apple event, you can just double tap that. All that is here, which is very nice, very convenient.
Featured collection. Earth Day 2021. Every action counts. Button. Black. Featured episode. Guilty. 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 The verdict and what's next. Button. New show. The Improvement Association. A true tale of election fraud. Button. New show. Dark Air with Terry Carnation. Explore the obscure. Button. New show. The Lazarus Heist. Who hacked Hollywood. Button. New and noteworthy. Heading.
I'll go down to the next section. Here's the news and noteworthy.
See all. Button. The Midnight Miracle. Talib Kweli, Yassine Bey, and Dave Chappelle. Button. Not over it. I Heart Radio. Button. A document. New Hampshire Public Radio. Button. In front of our eyes. Minnesota Public Radio. Button.
Okay, so those are things you could do.
Top shows. Heading.
Top shows.
See all. Button. 1. In God We Lost. Wondery. Button. 1. 2. Your Own Backyard. Chris. 3. Crime Junkie. Audio. 4. Killer Roll. NBC.
All the different top shows.
Top episodes. Heading.
Top episodes.
Categories. Heading.
And then categories, which is very similar to what we saw under the search.
New to podcasts. Heading.
Etc. and etc. So you get to see how that is laid out. And that's pretty much Apple Podcasts. There's a lot in here. And what I've covered are some of the basic things. Now, it's not as easy as you think. It is definitely something you have to play over time. And once you get the hang of it, it isn't that bad. I really like this a lot. I am really glad to see some of the similarities they have to Apple Music. Now, before I go, I want to show you a couple more things. Now, at the bottom left,
Listen now. Tab.
is
1
you
of 4.
listen now. Now, if you listen to a cast, if you are familiar with Apple Music, whatever is being played or last played, there's a mini player just to the left of this area. So go to the left.
Mini player. Fast forward. 30 seconds. Button. Play. Button. The Kansas City Star Daily Briefing. Thursday, April 22nd, 2021.
That was the last item that I was listening to. So if you double tap that, it'll open up a player. It will show all the information about that episode that I was listening to, and then I can resume what I was listening to, or if you already listened to it, I can replay it from here. So essentially, this is just a little mini player you can have towards the bottom where you can go to the next or fast forward and such. Or if you want to open up the episodes, you can do that. And then one more thing I want to show you on the app itself. At the bottom left,
Listen now. Tab. 1 of 4.
I'm going to go over to
Selected. Library. Tab.
Library.
3.
And I'm going to go to the top,
Library. Heading. Shows.
go
Button.
to the shows.
Selected. 16 minutes news by a
Go to
16Z.
AppleVis.
Updated. A 16Z. Apple Bits XL. Apple News Today. AppleVis Podcast. Updated today.
Tap.
Download. Dimmed. Button.
I'm going to find the Unleashed show, which is I do, and it comes out once a month. Now, there's a reason I'm showing you this, because it offers chapters. So let's go find the Unleashed show.
March 30th. AppleVis Unleashed March 2021. Are you ready to swap over? 1 hour 30 minutes left. Played. Button.
All right,
Swipe up or down to select the custom action.
I've already played this, but you can replay it. I'm going to go ahead and replay it. I'm going to go to the right.
Play. Applevis Unleashed March.
And go ahead and do a one-finger double tap to play it.
Play. How to play ambient sounds on HomePod and HomePod Mini. Download. Dim.
Now I'm going to pause it. And remember that mini player I just showed you? Let's go back to the bottom left.
Tab bar. Listen now. Tab.
And
1
go
of
to
4.
the right.
Mini player. Fast forward. 30 seconds. Play. Button. Applevis Unleashed March 2021. Are you...
All right, so I'm going to double tap that.
Applevis Unleashed. Dismiss now playing screen. Button.
Okay, so this is the area. Now, it looks similar to what we've done, right?
Album artwork. Image. A white surface with a gray border. Track position. 10 seconds of 1 hour. 29 minutes. Applevis Unleashed March 2021. Are you ready? Applevis Podcast. March 30th, 2020. Rewind. 15 seconds. Button.
So we got the players, the media players and stuff here.
Play. Button. Fast forward. 30 seconds. Volume. 66%. Playback speed. 1.5 speed. Button.
Aha. There's something new there. If you like to play it faster like I do, this will remember it across the board. So if you want to speed this up, I have it set to 1.5. So double tap that. You can have it normal, 1.5, 2x, and etc. That's how you can speed things up. But what I really want to show you is chapters.
Playback destination. iPhone. Button. More. Button. Sleep timer. Button. Chapters. Heading.
Aha, chapters.
Hide. Button.
You can have it hidden or shown. Chapters are only on certain podcasts. So Applevis Unleashed is the only one that we have Applevis that have chapters. Because the show can be so lengthy, it could be an hour, it could be an hour and a half. We have gotten a lot of requests for chapters. So you'll see this on some podcasts and some podcasts you don't. But those that you do have it, well, you can find out chapters within the episode. So if you want to see what's in the entire episode, you can skip to different section of the episode. So let's go right.
Introduction. Plus 0 seconds. Button.
So it's pause, and it's right now is in the introduction area. So let's go just do a few more here.
The non-existing March keynote. 5 minutes, 23 seconds. Button. Apple discontinues original HomePod. Will focus on Mini. 34 minutes, 10 seconds. Button. Apple discontinues iMac Pro. 44 minutes, 18 seconds. Button. Release of the iOS 14.4.1 and 14.4.2. 48 minutes, 19 seconds. Button.
That tells you the placement. So it's 48 minute within the show itself is where you can find it. If you double tap that section.
Release of the iOS 14.4.1 and 14.4.2. Plus 48 minutes, 19 seconds.
It will take you to right to that segment. So now let's play, and it should be right to the iOS 14.5. The Apple has released 14.4.1 in. See that? It's really cool, isn't it?
Apple clarifies on default music feature in iOS. Apple may bring separate security updates to iOS for the first time.
So
55 minutes,
just double tap
43
that.
seconds. Apple may bring separate security updates
And
to
we'll go ahead and do two-finger double tap to play that they found within the 14.5. And nobody really is sure when this will come out, but I am so excited. That is to that segment. So you see how the chapters work. It's really cool. So you can kind of go through each of the chapters and you can skip other things and whatnot. So that is the chapters and how to access it and the speed rate. Now, the last thing I want to show you is under settings. There are some things I want to show you under settings, which is the native settings, which is different than the settings that I showed you when we were doing the search. Let's get out of here.
Podcasts. Double tap to
And let's go down to settings.
settings.
Double tap
Double tap
it.
to open settings. Thomas Domville. Apple ID. iCloud. Media and purchases. Button.
I'm looking for podcasts. So I'm going to swipe to the right until we get to podcast.
Podcasts. Button.
Double tap.
Allow podcasts to access. Heading.
Now you're going to get your typical stuff here, and I'll swipe to the right. You pretty much get the same result in every area, except for the settings area. Well, I'll get to.
Siri and search. Button. Notifications. Banners. Sounds. Button. Background app refresh. Switch button. On. Cellular data. Switch button. On. Double
Of
tap to
course,
toggle setting.
all this information is important because it really is up to you. If you want to be notified and you want it to run in the background, you have to turn those on. Those are by default on. If not, you'll need to turn those on for yourself. If you don't want to get a notification, you can just come in here and say, hey, I don't want a notification at all, and I don't want it to be updating all the time. I'll just refresh it every time I open up the podcast app itself.
Podcast settings. Heading.
Here we go. Here's the podcast settings I was telling you about.
Sync podcasts. Switch button. On.
Sync.
Double tap to toggle setting.
This is very important, which means if this is turned on, you're syncing across your Apple ID. So if I have another device as my iPad, you can open up that podcast and it'll show you what you played, what you haven't, all your stuff that you followed. It will be synced into the cloud. And not only that, but it'll save all your settings. So next time you get a new phone, restore it, it's all synced. So you want to make sure that's set to on, which is by default is.
Lock downloads over cellular. Switch button on.
This
Double
is a
tap
big
to toggle
one.
setting.
If you do not want it to be used over the cellular, this is the item you turn on or off based to you on what you want to do.
Continuous playback. Switch button on.
This
Double
is what
tap
I
to
was
toggle
talking
setting.
about before, is that once you listen to one episode, if there's other episodes you have not listened to, it will just keep going. And if you don't like that, you don't want continuous play, you need to come in here and turn this off.
The next episode in Up Next will automatically start playing after an episode ends. Episode downloads. Heading. Cellular downloads. Ask if over 200 MB. Button.
Self-explanatory. If you do allow oversell, if it's over a certain amount, it needs to ask me. Smaller ones I don't care about. Big ones I do.
Remove play downloads. Switch button on.
Same
Double tap to toggle
settings that
setting.
you see within the app. You can do it in here.
Episodes can be automatically deleted 24 hours after they're played. Automatic downloads. Heading. Enable when following. Switch button off. Double tap to toggle setting.
This is if you want to go ahead and have it download automatically, you need to turn this on.
Enable automatic downloads when following a show so you can play episodes offline.
Basically what you're doing here, this is kind of a global setting. So once I follow a show, and it will take these settings in consideration, which is kind of nice because I don't want to have to go to every episode and check to make sure it's all set the way I want. You set it here first, and that way every time you follow, it'll take all these examples. No, I don't want to download it, There's a couple things you may not be able to do, like notifications and such. You still will need to go into it to turn it off and on. But by default, this is the global settings.
Saved episodes. Heading. Download when saving. Switch button on. Episodes will be downloaded on the device where they are saved. Episode display. Heading. Hide played episodes. Switch button off. All episodes will be visible on shows you follow. This can be overridden per show. Skip buttons. Heading. Forward 30 seconds. Button.
If you like to change the forward button, if you don't like 30 seconds, you can increment it or make it less. This is kind of a nice configuration.
Back 15 seconds. Button. Set the number of seconds to skip when you tap the skip button. External controls. Heading. Selected. Next/previous. Button. Skip forward/back. Button. Headphones and car controls can be used to play the next/previous episode or skip forward/back within the episode. Privacy. Heading. Podcasts and privacy. Button. Reset identifier. Switch button. Off. Resetting of the identifier will take effect next time you use podcasts.
And then that's the last part of the settings. So that is pretty much the basic level of how to use Apple Podcasts. I showed you how to add a show, which is Applevis as an example. I showed you how to change some of the settings beyond the global settings that I just showed you. So if you want it to be notified, or if you don't want it to download, you can say, this episode I want to be downloaded. This show I do want it. This show I don't. I want to be notified in this show, etc., etc. I showed you all those. I showed you how to you can view the different categories. The Listen Now shows you your latest episodes area and some advice, what shows an episode that you have been listening to, what you may be interested in following. And then we had the library, which contains all these shows that I am following. And I showed you how you can unfollow things. I showed you the latest episodes, how you can say more and mark it as played so it doesn't show up again, and all that. It is all compact into this little episodes for you. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot in here you may have to listen to several times. If you have any questions, just contact me at thomas@applevis.com. I will be happy to help you answer your questions if I can, but I always recommend highly to ask questions on Applevis site. So post a comment onto this podcast or create a new forum posting of your questions, and you're going to get better results there because, boy, the more people that can see things, the better experience that we have all had, and as a collection or a collective minds, we're able to maybe to answer those questions that you have. So that is all about Apple Podcasts. My name is Thomas Domville, also known as Anonymous. Until next time, bye-bye.
This AppleVis podcast has been brought to you by the community of applevis.com. For the latest in resources and tips and tricks to get you the best experience from your Apple device, visit www.applevis.com.